What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. I hope you guys are having a happy and safe 4th. I went and got myself some barbecue, and boy was it delicious over at Buc-ee's. You Texans, you know what I'm talking about. But when it comes down to it, the market waits for no man, no holiday, and sometimes it even goes crazier throughout. I'm going to be covering some of the buyouts that have been happening, following into more than a few penny stonks, and finally the collector market speed run. I like to feature the cards with the collector's market that I actually find interesting to talk about. You guys know that market has been absurd and going pretty much every which way. Let's start with Madolche's here, and I cannot believe this screenshot. It's absurd. People tried to buy this out to the point of $25. I pulled so many of this card out of bulk in the past, but right now it's already sitting back down towards $4. Granted, not the most quantities in the world for a card, and you also have tons of other Madolche buyouts. The new support and Eternity code has been exceptional for this archetype, giving it actual real first turn plays, in addition to always OTKing even better than ever. But we have Battles of Legend showing that we are getting a Madolche and Jelly reprint. In just a couple of weeks, that price refuses to fall here, and I can't imagine sales rates are the best either. But a lot of questions arise because in past Battles of Legend, they've dropped just a singular piece of support like Infernity Deviati before. So will we see other holo upgrades to Madolche's? A lot of people hoping for this to become holographic, or will it be Angeli out there by herself? Another card that I've actually told people when it was like $2 to $3 to gamble on a little more was Hoot Cake, and we see both versions of that towards $12. Will this be missed, or will it be in battle? So many questions with this set, and actually so little that we know. Usually I suggest heavily to buy Battles of Legend, but there's so many question marks because the value's just not there yet. So what will be selling Battles of Legend? What will sneak in here? And will this hold up to the past names where almost every single one of these has been highly desired and sought after to where it's ripped open and they're like $100 boxes? Or will this be the one that lets us down? Question mark. But if you are looking for any products at all, Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market has 10% off everything site-wide on their 4th of July sale right now. You support the channel without even using a code right now to go on over there. Just go ahead, you build your cart, and you will see the actual impact from the promo code on checkout. So shipped to your front door, over $20 still, and 10% off of everything. Let's look at some more of the buyouts. Infernity has had rolling buyouts. Infernity Mirage, you see, is pretty much out of copies. And I just checked the game promo, Infernity Archfiend. This is something I've always liked to set aside when I used to vend, because I was like, it just feels too low for once so impactful of a card. And people are making OTKs, FTKs, all sorts of stuff with this card still. There is not, if I'm correct, a single near mint copy that I have seen actually today on TCG Player. So this is up, out of there, gone. And if you'd like to make a sale, you can list yours, or maybe be on the hunt if you're trying to collect everything and go for game promos and stuff like that. Now, the DT is still relatively cheap for what it is, but also running out of copies. So there's a little bit of a penny stonk here to kick off penny stonks. Around $2 still. I usually don't like DT buyouts, but this card only has 3 versions, and if the game promos are gone, which is what I would have gone for first, gold isn't necessarily the most loved, and then you have DT, which actually looks very clean on this card. A lot of Infernity stuff going here. It's interesting to watch that hype happen. Starting off our penny stonks here is something a viewer actually suggested during a live stream, which is the brand new legendary Duels Season 1000 Eyes Restricted. I was like, there's a ton of penny stonks in this set, but this one stands out to me because every single other version, including a brand new Speed Duels version that comes out of a guaranteed deck, is $2+. GOAT format, such a staple. Also, you like to summon this off of Instant Fusion from time to time as removal and get double removal out of Relinquished Anima or wherever you're going. I like this card a lot, and you can see actually versus its listings as low as and market price, it's not really that cheap or easy to get, already 70 cents. And I could see this going towards $2 very quickly after vendors sell out of this, so it's not a bad penny stonk at all and is quickly $1 already. So you might want to get your cheaper copies of Thousands I Restrict if this is something you put off for whatever reason, or you need extras for GOAT format. I think this is it. And the next version that's kind of low, so like I said, newer, Speed Duels, not bad to have something Speed Duel locked for like the 4 Speed Duel players out there still. Missed Valley Baby Rock is an interesting penny stonk that I didn't even know how to buy out for its DT. Phoenix Lair X was telling me this is almost necessary when talking about Dragoonities, and I would assume that's why the DT is gone. But the Hidden Arsenal 2 version is still very, very affordable and cheap right now. So if you're looking forward to the Dragoonity structure, this is one of those cards that structure deck certainly could miss. We'll have to wait and see that card list, but also still in holographic form. If you want to grab yours sooner than later, I definitely suggest doing so using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, be they penny stonks or as high as a Starlight Rare. You know, it definitely helps when it's more, but either way, I appreciate you bothering to take the time out of your day to use that. I really don't know too much about Dragoonity, so I'm taking the Master's word on this one, but I do know that this effect does scream, hey, that's pretty good for a tuner to be able to just come back out of the graveyard. People have been asking me what my opinion is for penny stonks for Toon Chaos over and over. I feel like I've said them several times, but I'm just going to go through these 5. Toon Harpy Lady, as an original to the set, even with an unlimited wave coming, does stand out to me. She's a toon that seems somewhat collectible, and we've seen in the past stuff like Toon Mass Sorcerer definitely rise up over time and time again, actually. Chaos Valkyria, I feel like, is underestimated heavily by many people, and then in play sets, people will be grabbing Desires and Gamma. These cards are things I would consider, along with Masked Hero Acid. We saw over time him just increase in price, and while you only really need one usually when you're thinking Masked Heroes, I would still suggest having your copy before this is like $2 or $3 in the future, perhaps. Also, Chaos Deadliest, people have asked me my thoughts on this as one of the lowest ultra rares in the set. While you're only pulling around 3 of him per case, he does stand out to me as having an okay effect, but there just can't be everything as a winner within sets. I would still have a copy or 2. Most decks that I see that bother to play him play 2 max, but he's not the greatest card. He's just not a bad card. I do think he's a little underestimated, but not everything can be a winner, like we said, and the unlimited printing of the set should bring singles down for sure, so you could just see even more of him flood onto the market. Lightning Chidori is an interesting penny stonk, and with Ritual Beast back, sometimes they have that room for this in the extra deck, and it only has a couple of variants, with the ultra rare only having 17 listings, and the premium gold rare also being pretty low on listings, yet still relatively cheap. So this is something I would want access to certainly sooner than later. First edition Ultra, definitely, you know, it's not the highest rarity, but I would think I would go for it over gold. But premium gold actually looks pretty good on Xyz at times, so this wouldn't bother me to be stuck with, especially at under $1, you know, 1/3 the price of the Ultra, and percentage wise might be able to go up even a little more. There's just a stigma with gold rares, but Xyz look really nice with them in my opinion. Hope Harbinger rocks it. Obedience Schooled has fallen back out, and people seem to have not really noticed that. Rise of the Duelist is on our doorsteps, and while the good old fluffy cute archetype is not the best, I could see people chasing after this again once Rise is here. So while it's cheap, while it's nice, you might want to grab your playset. Remember how this spiked to like $15 or something ridiculous just off the market? Yeah, back to $1, $2 and plenty of quantities on market. It's not like you're really suffering to have to get these. Oh, wait, $4 here. Wait a minute. Let's check in on the Mega Pack version too. I could swear there was some cheap. Yeah, $250, $250, $250. So still penny stonkish. It looks like the originals are actually up a bit in price here. But the Mega Pack version, if you just absolutely want your copies, not bad to see that fall out. Heatwave has also fallen back out over time. You can see market price $6.99 for Starstrike Blast because people really went after this, despite it being in a speed duel structure, because those aren't the most ripped open things in the world. And you can see it's fallen back towards $3 even for that prestigious set of Starstrike Blast having a rare. So if you've been waiting for this, you've been thinking about it for some kind of rogue deck, this is pretty much bottom out price when it comes to this card, and I would consider getting your copies. Now let's do that collector market speedrun, starting with Archlord Christia. It is so hard to get this near mint. Remember with Stardust Overdrive, there was a foiling issue where there would be edgeware out of the pack where the holo would be exposed on a lot of the cards, so they end up light play. While the near mint unlimiteds are ridiculously priced, and the first eds even more so after this buyout. But this is one of those ones that is actually kind of playable, especially when we're talking decks like Nekroz or being able to search it out and then summon it. Christia is a good one, and I don't think this was the worst buyout in the world, but we'll see how it actually lasts. It's definitely had troubles with multiple buyouts in the past. Also looking at Stardust Overdrive, Guardian Eatos is going, gone for at least the first edition, and very few unlimiteds left as well. Dark Grapher is actually surprising me here. I did not see this one coming out of all of the cards. Now more expensive than a Dark Arm Dragon, with the first eds at $250 and unlimiteds at $180. This won't stick in terms of pricing, but let's actually talk about this enabler. Similar to Armageddon Knight, this can be so good for so many decks. Also Warrior for Isolde. It's interesting to see people go after this old school secret rare, and Grepher himself is not the most accessible card when it comes to his copies, I believe. Let's actually check that out. I feel like there was some somewhat recent reprint, but when it comes to Dark Grepher specifically, yeah, not the most amount of copies in the world. Pendulum Domination did give him an easy access common, though. Each and every other one just happened to be not the easiest to get. So the super rares also looking kind of low on quantities in certain places, but high in others. Yeah, kind of a penny stonk there, but more just focusing on the collectability of the secret rare. I don't feel like this is one of those ones that'll stick, but also an intriguing choice for sure. Duelist Pack Kaiba. People have been comparing certain sets to this, like Toon Chaos. Will first edition Toon Chaos be like Duelist Pack Kaiba? Well, completely out of stock here on TCG Player, and these are the only two sealed boxes over here, I believe, for the first edition specifically. No, all of it. All of it. So yeah, when it comes down to actual sealed boxes, these have really gone. Somebody told me just 3 months ago it was 700 to 800, but I hadn't been peeking in on this set. So if those copies did disappear, that's pretty absurd for people chasing down those ultimate rares. And finally, how big is Drillroid's drill? We may never know because the product is out of stock. I can't believe they went and bought the $70 copies of this for the meme. This blows my freaking mind, but DR4 is also one of those sets like Star Strike Blast. The name can sell itself sometimes, and then memes actually turn into money. Thank you for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. What do you think of this crazy climate for the collector's market? I do find some of these genuinely interesting, so I like to bring those ones up that I kind of like. Oh yeah, it's not just another Ghost Rare buyout, or this Ghost Rare is actually interesting to me. Those kinds of things to your attention rather than just everything, because let's face it, we could just do an hour-long Market Watch on the collector's market alone. What do you think about some of the penny stonks I brought up, slash the actual, 1,000 Eyes Restrict being perhaps one of the best out of Legendary Duel Season 1? And finally, the buyouts that have been happening right now. I really hope they bring more Madolches into Battles of Legend. There's just no telling right now what is in the box. It could be anything.